I'm curious, do you have the numbers of Filipinos who have been deported? Have Filipinos been deported?
Yes. Well, the number that we had was 24, but that's now somewhere between 60 to 80 are now pending. In many parts of the United States, they're pending, meaning to say they are now in a deportation process.
Filipino families across the U.S. are vanishing, and no one's talking about it. It's not in the headlines, but it's happening now, fast and quietly. Is your city next? In 2025, a wave of silent removals is sweeping across America, targeting a community many thought was safe. From caregivers to nurses, restaurant workers to students, Filipinos are being pushed out of the very places they helped build. Let's start in Houston. Once seen as a haven for immigrants, it's now ground zero for a quiet crackdown. Filipinos who overstayed visas during the pandemic or arrived under legal gray areas are being removed without warning. One day they're buying groceries, the next, they're gone. No press, no protests, just ICE vans and sealed apartments. Why Houston? Because local agencies are feeding data directly into immigration systems, hospital records, aid applications, even job boards. And Houston isn't alone. In Chicago, the purge started with mail, a letter, a missed call. Then, silence. Filipinos who had spent over a decade in the city simply disappeared, not because of crimes, but because of old visa issues, minor paperwork errors, or cases stuck in court limbo. What used to be safe places, clinics, food pantries, are now points of exposure. Even a typo on a form could lead to removal. Why target Filipinos? Because they don't resist. They follow rules. And now, that silence is working against them. Then there's Los Angeles. Known for its sanctuary status, the city is quietly cooperating behind closed doors. Court backlogs are being cleared, fast. Filipino immigrants with clean records, long-standing appeals, or pending renewals are suddenly denied and deported. From historic Filipino town to Koreatown, the message is clear. Paperwork delays are no longer tolerated. Even people who did everything right are being sent away. Quietly, efficiently. In New York City, things look normal, until you look closer. Filipinos are being picked up at birthday parties, church events, even grocery stores. They weren't hiding. They were waiting on green card approvals, reunification cases, or asylum decisions. But with new surveillance tools in place, the government doesn't need warrants anymore. Facial recognition, subway tracking, and data matching programs now mark individuals for removal, even if they've done nothing wrong. Visibility, not illegality, is the new risk. San Francisco? Same story, different method. Here, it often starts with a noise complaint, a rent issue, a landlord dispute. Filipinos living in shared housing are being flagged, not for crimes, but for their visibility in city databases. Eviction reports, aid forms, and housing apps, all now quietly linked to ICE. One neighbor complaint, and you're on the radar. San Francisco once felt like a progressive safe zone. Now it's a quiet surveillance state. In Dallas, the removals are happening after night shifts. Filipino nurses and caregivers, people with jobs, tax records, and spotless reputations, are disappearing. Why? Because of employment audits. Agencies that failed to file renewals or classified workers incorrectly are getting away with it. The workers, though, are paying the price. Even those with legal status are nervous now. One audit, one missing document, and your life here could end overnight. San Diego used to offer comfort, family, son, and mixed status households. But in 2025, ICE doesn't care if your child is a citizen. They're still entering homes and splitting families. A single signature missing on a form from 10 years ago is now grounds for removal. It's not about danger. It's about efficiency. And in San Diego, families are being separated based on delays and mistakes, not intentions. Phoenix takes things even further. For years, Churches were sanctuaries, literal safe spaces. But not anymore. ICE raids have entered places of worship. People hiding under humanitarian relief or with pending cases are now being forcibly removed from church basements and community centers. No knock, no press, no peace. It's turned prayer into a liability. And Miami? The problem here isn't crime, it's job fraud. Many Filipinos in cruise ships and hotels were placed by agencies that faked documents. The workers didn't know, they trusted the system. But when the feds came down, they didn't sort the innocent from the guilty. Filipinos became collateral. Entire neighborhoods are now emptying. Not because of something they did, but because of who hired them. Then there's Washington, D.C., the epicenter of policy, now testing ground for deportation strategy. In the past year alone, over 200 Filipinos have been removed. Why? Because the rules keep changing, and retroactively. A visa approved in 2023 is now grounds for deportation in 2025. DC isn't enforcing law, it's experimenting with it. Filipinos, seen as cooperative and quiet, are the perfect group to test high-speed removals. No noise, no lawsuits, just gone. So what's really happening? The Filipino community is being used as a silent case study in mass deportation. No violent crimes, no headlines, just fast removals. The systems aren't broken, they're being optimized. For speed, for numbers, for statistics. Filipinos are viewed as ideal targets, compliant, English-speaking, unlikely to fight back. They're not making trouble, but that's exactly why they're being picked off. City by city, visa by visa, apartment by apartment. This isn't about undocumented versus documented anymore. It's about data trails. Overstayed during COVID? You're now flagged. Applied for aid during the pandemic? You're in the system. Attended a legal clinic? That form could come back to haunt you. Across the country, the message is clear. Silence is no longer protection. And for thousands of Filipino families in 2025, it's becoming a trap. So, is your city next? If you're watching this and your family is here on a visa, waiting for papers, or stuck in legal limbo, stay alert. Share this video. Drop your city in the comments. Let others know what's happening. Because right now, the most dangerous thing you can do is assume you're safe. Let's be clear, this isn't just about immigration anymore. It's about visibility. The very things that make Filipino communities strong, tight families, consistent routines, working multiple jobs, trusting the system, are now being used against them. Think about it. A caregiver drops off a child at school, heads to their second job at a clinic, and stops at Seafood City for dinner. That's not suspicious behavior. That's everyday life. But to new tracking systems, it's a pattern. One that makes you easy to find, easy to follow, and easy to remove. In 2025, it's no longer about crossing borders. It's about living near one. And Filipinos who once felt safe blending into American neighborhoods are now realizing that invisibility is a myth. The neighborhood grocery store, the church you've gone to for 15 years, the job that gives you purpose, all of these are connected to systems now scanning for deportation targets. And it's not just affecting undocumented immigrants. Filipino green card holders waiting on renewals. Students who graduated during the pandemic but had their OPT delays extended. Caregivers who followed every rule but trusted the wrong staffing agency. These are the people being swept up. Why? Because immigration enforcement has shifted focus. It's no longer targeting threats. It's targeting easy wins. People with no criminal history. People who won't fight. People who are just trying to do their jobs, raise their kids, and keep their heads down. Let's talk numbers. Over 4 million Filipinos live in the United States. That's the third largest Asian American group. But you wouldn't know that from the news. Why? Because they don't make headlines. They don't riot. They don't push back. And now, that silence is being weaponized. In cities like LA and New York, the removals aren't dramatic. They're administrative, quiet denials, a court date moved forward without notice, a backlog cleared with no appeal. And once that decision hits the system, it's over. There's no time to fight. You're flagged, tracked, and taken. Even US-born children aren't stopping removals anymore. In the past, ICE would often skip homes with minors or mixed-status households. In 2025, that layer of protection is gone. Children are being left behind, sometimes with neighbors, sometimes with caseworkers, sometimes with no one. We've spoken to families who lost both parents in a single week. One picked up from work, the other from home. Kids came home to empty rooms and unanswered phones. No warnings, no goodbyes. So what do? Start talking. The days of staying quiet and hoping you're not next are over. Join Filipino community centers. Support immigration legal aid groups. Make sure your paperwork is current, and triple-check every form. Most importantly, stop assuming it won't happen to you. Because the truth is, every city we listed in this video has already seen Filipino families removed this year. Quietly, cleanly, completely. It's happening in apartment buildings, at bus stops, in hospitals, and even churches. The new rules aren't fair, they're fast. And if you wait until your name is called, it's already too late. So we're asking you, is your city next? Do you know someone who might be vulnerable? Are you prepared to help, speak up, or even just share this message? Because the more we talk, the more we shine light on a system built to work in darkness. And maybe, just maybe, we slow it down before it reaches someone you love.